Hey there, guys. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. So, this morning we're very lucky to be chatting with Melissa, who has a wealth of information and certifications and specializations in all sorts of niches in physical therapy. So, we'll be talking a little bit about that, some injury recovery for specifically tennis players, and then also equally as important, her own personal journey of moving from being a practitioner and helping other moms to heal from their pregnancy and labor to her own journey through postpartum recovery. So she'll be hopping on in just a few minutes, and you can join the discussion. Leave your comments below. That's always makes it a little bit more interactive. If you know someone that wants to be interviewed, or if you'd like to be interviewed yourself, then please just comment below or send me a message, and we can get you in the schedule, because that's what helps to keep this going. And hopefully the connection will work out well this morning. I'm also researching some alternative options to Facebook Live. I know sometimes you can use an additional platform, but then that sometimes affects algorithms and that sort of thing. So, being techie is not really my specialty, but because this is a passion project and I love helping others to share their information, which in addition helps other people to live their best you and bring wellness into their lives. And into their practices, whether they be a yoga teacher, a physical therapist, or some other health practitioner. I do believe that the interviews are very valuable. Morning, Sophie, and I hope to continue them. So we'll just give Melissa a moment to show up, and then morning, Kathleen, and then we'll get started about talking about her journey. So in the meantime, if you have any questions about, good morning, going through pregnancy and labor, even if it was a few years ago and you're still feeling the effects in your body, I know for myself, sometimes I still feel the effects of my cesarean, my scar tissue, and different pulling through the pelvis, which manifests as occasional SI stability, low back stuff. Then leave your questions below right now, so then when Melissa does come online, we can answer them. I'm going to send her a quick email and just see where she is. So yeah, just leave your questions below, and we'll bring them on. There she is. Great. Okay, Melissa, I'm just trying to hit your little button. There we go. Very good. Good morning.
Hi.
Hi, it's so nice to meet you and talk with
Same
you.
here.
I was reading your bio this morning and I was like, oh my goodness, she has a wealth of information. So lucky to have you on.
I'm just straightening myself out. Well, thanks for inviting me.
Oh, sure. I'm so glad it worked out. So I pulled up your bio from your website, so I'm going to read a little bit of it, and then if you want to add any additional information, then please feel free, okay? So Melissa has her doctorate and her master's for Emory University. She's also spent a good deal of time and has an expertise and working with a lot of elite women athletes, especially tennis players, and has been to numerous countries and tournaments around the world working with these tennis players, which I'm sure has been quite a journey.
Yeah.
Melissa is also a certified manual therapist through the University of St. Augustine and a board certified sports physical therapist. Right there, just there itself is a lot of time. Her area of specialty practice includes sport medicine and orthopedics, She's also a post-store trained Pilates instructor. And Melissa trained in functional movement screen, FMS, and selective functional movement analysis, SFMA. She has also received her training in functional dry needling through Kineticore and utilizes the red core suspension exercise. I actually have the opportunity to see that today at one of my friends' clinics.
It's awesome.
I've heard so many amazing things. In addition, she's also certified in the NURAC method, and she's one of the only certified NURAC instructors in the Southeast. So it's just amazing. Anything you would like to add to all that?
That's pretty much it. I mean, now I'm working a little bit more. I'm trying to expand my practice a little bit more since I'm a new mom to the postpartum female. So, and there's so many athletes. I mean, if you have a body, you're an athlete to me. So, you know, there's so many women out there trying to do all these exercises and they're postpartum and they still are dealing with incontinence and leaking and pain. And it's like, oh, we can help you. So I'm just trying to get even broader now to try to, you know, implement my approach to help those women as well. Because now I get it. I'm going through it.
Right. Yes. I love it. We already have a question from Sophie, if we want to answer. She says, what do you do to break up scar tissue and heal from your cesarean? Well, that might be to me, but did you have a cesarean? Or
I did. I actually had a planned C-section because
Okay.
I had a myomectomy a couple of years ago due to a fibroid in the uterus. And they felt that was part of my infertility issues. And so I had a myomectomy, which sets you up for a planned C-section at 37 weeks. So I had scar tissue on top of scar tissue, which is what a lot of women struggle with.
Yeah. And how did you work through that scar tissue?
So I'm still working through it. And it's funny that it's a great question, actually, because there's a misnomer out there that says you can break up scar tissue. You can't really, and you don't really want to break it up because it's there stabilizing tissue to create stability. But what we can do is we can remodel that scar tissue.
Realign the fibers.
We can smooth it back out. We can, you know, help the muscle re-engage better. And so we do that through a lot of different techniques. Some of the ones that I use are dry needling. I use soft tissue mobilization, myofascial release techniques, but I also do spinal manipulation. And that's part of my whole comprehensive approach when working with these postpartum moms, is to figure out which techniques do they need, what does their body need, and implementing the right things. And the other thing I'm doing now is cupping. And that's been a really big, it's been a really big game changer on top of all these other awesome techniques that we actually can do as physical therapists now.
Yeah, that's amazing. I teach a lot of yoga classes in the community. I can always tell when someone comes in and they've been cupped because, you know, the little markers are
leaves
still
the
there,
marks.
But the feedback from it is always so positive. People are always like, I feel so much better.
Yeah,
that's really
it's a
wonderful.
nice adjunct too, to use cupping after dry needling too, because sometimes there is some soreness with dry needling, and that's just part of that process. But we can do these other techniques to help offset that. So that's why I also like to use it.
I get it. Yeah, very nice. So you have that's kind of how I run my practice, a very individualized approach when someone walks in the door, kind of listening and then determining the course of treatment.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. No cookie cutter approach for everybody.
Yeah, that's right. Beautiful. So, you know, with all this that you do you have a very specific expertise or specialization at this time, or you kind of just float through as needed?
No, I definitely think once I came off the WTA tour, my main area is tennis. I mean, and the overhead athlete. Once people figured out that I was here in Atlanta from the tour, it was like I sort of became like the tennis expert in the PT world here in Atlanta. I mean, just spending 5 years every single day traveling from event to event, seeing everything I can possibly see in tennis. I guess it does make you kind of an expert. And so that's kind of how I ended up really opening up my practice as that tennis and overhead athlete, because a lot of other sports like baseball and water polo and javelin, they use that overhead action, and it's very similar to tennis.
Like
and then you've got the then you've got the golfers who have the rotational component that tennis does. So then I started to treat some more golfers, and then just somehow, I guess by word of mouth, very organically, it was I treated someone and then they recommended somebody, and it was like now I treat really anyone within the sports or performing arts, from dance to soccer players to really anyone who's active now. And so I kind of started, I still have my tennis expertise. There's probably about half my clientele are tennis players. So I love working with them because I have a very directed approach, especially for tennis elbow. That's like my main, like tennis elbow. I know exactly what we're doing. It's a tricky injury. If they let it go on too long, you're in trouble. And so I try to get in front of all these recreational players and start prevention and teaching them how to prevent it. So I still have that niche, but you can extrapolate a lot of that stuff to all the other sports. An ankle sprain in soccer is an ankle sprain in tennis. It's just the mechanism of injury was different, right? It's the same injury. And so that's kind of how I ended up really more in the sports field now.
I love it. So if you're in Atlanta and you move in some way, there's your gal. So comment below, or you can message her on your own and get hooked up if you need some help. And then Sophie asks, what is dry needling? So do you want to expand upon that for some people that maybe don't know what it is?
Yes, great question. So dry needling is a technique where we use a thin filament needle, just similar to an acupuncture needle, except the philosophy and the biomechanics are completely different. So we often get this question, why is it so different than acupuncture, or is it the same as acupuncture? It is not the same as acupuncture. Acupuncture is working on a completely different philosophy and a completely different approach into the body. What dry needling does is it takes that very thin filament needle and it goes into the muscle to create a biomechanical change. So often what we're treating are called trigger points. And if you'll know this in layman's terms, if you kind of feel anywhere in your body, a lot of times people have them in their traps, they call them like knots. I feel I'm all knotted up. Those are the things, those knots do not allow proper blood flow and nutrition into the tissue, and they don't let the tissue expand and contract naturally, which is going to limit the range of motion that's available in the joint. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that needle into the muscle. We wait till we get a nice, what we call a local twitch response. So the muscle is responding. It's creating a chemical change and a biomechanical change. It's releasing chemicals out of the area, and then it lets go. It has this central nervous system release. And so then you all of a sudden have more range of motion, and you can actually access the muscle performance much better, because what those trigger points are doing, whether they're in your elbow, your shoulder, your leg, your hip, they're not going to let that muscle function the way it's designed to function. And so it inhibits the muscle. So you feel weaker, you feel tighter, you don't feel like you can generate power from that. So that's what we're doing with dry needling.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Some of the effects of the dry needle sound very similar. I haven't personally actually did dry needling myself, but some of the effects sound very similar to myofascial release, that sometimes that spasm and then the let go.
Exactly. The only thing that's different really from a manual approach to the dry needling approach, where we're using a tool, is that you have to think about the body in its depth. Just along the back alone, you have 4 major layers of muscle tissue that you have to get through. And your glutes, think about, you've got 3 levels of glutes, right? Typically the second and third layer deep are where a lot of the dysfunction lies. And sometimes with our hands, we just can't reach there. However good we are, however great the manual therapists are and the massage therapists are, We cannot reach that depth. But now the needle is an extension of my fingers that's going to that depth to release dysfunction. And what's so awesome is that people in chronic pain that have had pain for years, you can still get relief because there's always an opportunity to put a needle in the muscle. So that's what's just, it's a huge game changer. And it's been amazing for my clients.
Yeah, now you're intriguing me. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
research more because I love working with my hands, but sometimes, yeah, I can usually get deep enough, but it's a matter of it could take a long, like a whole session, or sometimes two, and so
Yes.
maybe, anyways, I'm
Yeah.
getting on a tangent, but I love it. Thank you so much. So just switching gears a little bit, going from more sports and back to maybe your postpartum journey, or just in general, what does the word wellness mean to you personally?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, it just means very simply to be fit and healthy and fulfilled. I want everyone to just feel fit and healthy. And every person's fit and healthy is different. And there's different goals associated with that and different, things they love to do. I really want to get everyone back to doing those things that they love and maybe challenging themselves, to doing some new things or things they never thought they could do because whatever this injury was or pain or fear that they had was holding them back. So for me, it's just a matter of, can I help you be better, take care of yourself better, teach you some strategies to be your best fit and healthy so you can be happy? Because a lot of times, as we all know, pain can change your mood. It has a really strong hold, and it's emotional experience that people puts you in a bad mood. It sets the tone for the day all wrong. And things like, your happiness and joy get very muddled in that. And so we really want everyone to be fit, healthy, happy, and fulfilled.
I love that. Yeah, so important, that whole person piece, really.
Yes.
I just had a conversation with a patient yesterday, and she didn't even realize, like, she was so focused in her pain bubble that she wasn't even looking for joy in her life. And so that's part of our work, is how do we incorporate that joy in, which I think will shift the focus from the pain, which actually will reduce it. So
that's right.
Thank you.
That's right.
So what's the biggest tip that you give your clients or patients?
I have so many. There's so many. I swear, if you're a fly on the wall, I'm literally a broken record all day because we all make the same mistakes. Yeah. So I'll go through my very quick list. So the first thing that I always make sure, especially my athletes or my active people, if you're going to play a sport or you're going to do an activity, prepare and recover. You have to act like an athlete. So no more just running out on the tennis court late, hitting the balls and saying that's my warm up. You have to get there early. You've got to warm up dynamically. If you're a runner, you can't just get out on the street and start running. That is not a warm up. You have to prepare dynamically, and then you have to recover because you have to give your body the chance to restore its natural balance back after you've performed so that you can feel better the next day and the next time you go out and do your activity or your event or whatever you're doing. It's just setting yourself up for injury and pain if you don't prepare and recover. So those are like two basic staples.
I think that's so true, even for the moms, right? Like chasing their kids, they have to prepare and they still have to recover. Like even if they're not going to go out and run miles, which might not be realistic.
Exactly. And I have a good example. Earlier this year during my maternity leave, I was the typical, I threw all my knowledge out the window. I went on daily walks. I was like, okay, body, I'm getting you back in shape. And I was pushing the stroller, and I've got a really hilly neighborhood, and I ended up having plantar fasciitis on my foot. And I was like, what the heck? This is what everybody says. I've been treating it for years and never had it, and it's awful if you've ever had it. And I jumped on my treatment and I was like, how did I get this? And I looked back and I was like, I did not prepare and I didn't recover. I just went out there, I pushed that stroller. I didn't even do any preparatory exercises or stretches. I didn't come home and stretch or get on my foam roller. I just went about life. And I was like, that is exactly why I tell people to prepare and recover, because it set me up. Then I had to get some treatment to try to walk again because it was just so painful. So prepare and recover. And then some other things that I learned in my own postpartum journey is, and also being an athlete, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. We do not get enough water. And when people come in with pain or injuries and muscle tightness, you can feel when the tissue is not hydrated. And that alone will cause pain and cellular death. So we do not want that. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And the other big tip I use is sleep, because repair happens when we sleep, and repair on all levels happens when we sleep, from our skin cells to our body, our muscles, our brain. So it's really important that we're getting enough sleep, especially new mamas. Man, this is tough. And new parents, it's really, really tough, but it's important to, you know, get in bed early so your body really has the time to recover, especially when you're dealing post-operatively or you're dealing with some health challenges. That repair process cannot happen if you are not sleeping enough or well enough.
Yeah, that's like a mic drop right there. So important. I just wrote about that in the blog, actually. It's underrated, but shouldn't be.
Important.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. So how do you work some of these tips and the wellness into your business model as a business owner?
So what we do here at One-on-One Physical Therapy is we have a multidisciplinary staff. So we've got our PTs, we've got massage therapists, we've got strength coaches, and then we have our Pilates and Red Cord wellness and fitness specialists. So we really are trying to be as comprehensive as we can, like the one-stop shop for everybody, so that what we do is, once the person's on their PT journey and they're getting towards where we're getting to that maintenance phase, right? Like they don't need me as much. So what's the next step? And what we like to do is, we don't just want to let you go and never see you again. Like we want to be in your life. This is it. We're a partnership. We want to be with you along the life journey. So we don't want to just be there for you. We will be there for you when you're injured and in pain, but we don't just want to be there when you're in pain. We want to be there when you're feeling good, to check in, tune up the system. So when we get, to keep it going, we're like a car, you know, you need your 10,000 mile checkup, you know, you need your quarterly checkups. So I want everybody to, as they're finishing and kind of on the end of their PT journey, I'd like to start to transition them into wellness. So whether that's working with Pilates, Red Cord suspension, a strength coach, whether you're a CrossFitter or a yoga enthusiast, wherever you want to go is where I want to transition you to. So we have that here. We built it into the practice that way people stay connected with us. The patients here like that I can go down the hall and tell my strength coach or my Pilates instructor, hey, these are her goals. This is what we're working on. And then communicate back with me if you see things that I don't see, and that I'll tell you what's happening in her sessions or his or her sessions, so that we can really stay on the cusp of that communication. And the patient feels like they are completely taken care of. I'm right there with them. I'm in the building. I can check in on them when they're on the Pilates reformer, on the mat or something like that. So they feel really connected. But if they don't live right in our vicinity, because we do get a lot of patients that come from hours outside of Atlanta in the rural area, they'll come in for treatment. And it's our job to find in the community, where can they go to then find what that is that they love. What coach do I need to talk to? What Pilates instructor, what yoga practice can I find for them? So we're trying to then transition them into wellness so they don't lose the benefits that they gained from all their PT experience.
Yeah, I love that. if you're a physical therapist, PT goals right there. I think we should all be doing this. I try to do that myself with having semi-private classes available that I teach on the yoga wall, or if they don't want more therapeutic style, like just connecting them with one of the many teachers in the area. It's so
Yes.
important to keep all this going.
Yes. And then you communicate with them and you network. And then maybe
Mm-hmm.
that Pilates instructor that I recommended, they're like, hey, I know this PT who sent me somebody. So you're just, everyone's all working together. And instead of being so competitive with each other, we just
Right.
should be working to benefit the patient.
Yes, exactly. Unfortunately, I do have a few PT friends in this area that we work together and cross refer, and one's right across the street, and it's
That's
really
awesome.
lovely. Like, yeah, I'm so grateful for that. So as you know, as you have a very well broad physical therapy clinic, which I love. What's has been your biggest challenge, maybe being a business owner and a mom and going through all this?
Yeah, I think the most, probably the most real thing that I feel right now is just that there's not enough time for everything. You know, I have in my brain like all these things I want to do, and I want to write, and I want to update my website, and I'm not happy with that, and you know, trying to get on Facebook and Instagram, and just there's just not enough time. So it's really important, especially now for me, to strategize on where I can plug in these moments to do stuff, and know that like it's a process and nothing's going to be done in by next week. And it's just, I have to just respect the fact that, you know, my baby's only a baby for so long, and spend time with him and my husband, and keep my practice going and keep putting it out there. I find it's just about time. It's like time to get the patients in, and time to do all my emails, and when do you have time to do all this stuff? But it's just really about trying right now. And I've definitely worked with some life coaches that have helped to say, you know, just schedule it, schedule your time, so you know this is what you're doing in this moment, and then you know you don't feel so overwhelmed with it all. So,
Right, and then you have to have the courage to not move it.
yeah.
Right, sticking to the boundaries. That's my thing. I'll schedule it in,
Woo.
and then sometimes I'm like, oh, I can just shift it.
Yes.
No, that
Yeah.
never
It's
ends
like,
well.
why did I put a patient in my lunch? I'm
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah,
eat. Can
yeah,
I please eat? Yeah.
yes.
What was I thinking?
Right,
Tell
right.
people, prepare
Yeah,
and recover, and I'm not eating. Yeah.
yes, yeah. Note
We're
to
human
self,
too.
right? Yeah, exactly. Love it. Um, so any parting words of wisdom for anyone today?
Yeah, I think I have two things I'd like to let everybody know. The first thing is the face of physical therapy has changed over the last several decades. And you've been to PT before, and you were just sort of like stuck in a room with a lot of other people, and you're doing like your exercises, and then they're running off to that corner and working with you, and then they're in this corner working with somebody else. That a lot of that is changing. It's coming down to a one-on-one practice approach. And our company name, One-on-One Physical Therapy, there's a reason for that. We saw the vision of where it was going in 2005. We opened a practice that had this vision of working one-on-one with every patient, really focusing our energy on that person for that 60-minute interval, and figuring out what their bodies needed, instead of being, you know, running around like a crazy person trying to get all the patients in and all at the same time, and not really giving good quality care. So we really feel that you do spend more money doing that approach, but you get better faster. And in the long run, you spend less money over time, and you actually get better, and you get back to doing what you love sooner. So if you've tried PT in the past and it didn't work for you, but they didn't try these manual techniques, these higher level advanced dry needling or suspension or spinal manipulation, all these things that we can do now, I highly recommend you try again. If you've got any nagging injuries or pain, give us another chance. Find somebody with a skill set like yours and mine, where we dedicate the time to the patient, where we're trying to help you get through your journey to get to the other side, and give us another chance. And if you don't know where to start, or you don't know how to find somebody, you can go on the APTA website and you can go find a PT in my area and plug in manual therapy, dry needling, or you can email me or find me on Facebook. I know a lot of people across the country. We are constantly trying to network. I'm on Facebook blogs with PTs across the country. We will find you somebody in your area that you can go see if you do not know where to find these PTs. So we can help you. We have the resources to help you. And then the last thing I'll say is, on your journey, it is just that. It is a journey. There's not a lot of quick fixes. Dry needling helps get you better the fastest, but it's a journey. And our job as PTs is to help guide you on the journey. And we see patients at their worst. You know, they're in pain, they're hurting, they're stressed, they're overworked, they've got too much on their plate. And a lot of patients can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And we're here to help make you see that light. My favorite quote is by Joseph Campbell, The Hero's Journey, where he says, at the darkest moment comes the light. And there is light for you. There is a way we can help you. You just have to find us and be persistent in your care. We are here, and we're here to help you see the light, because I know sometimes you can't when you're in so much pain, and when you're feeling bad, you're in that pain bubble, and there's no way out for you. But there is. We can see it. We have plans to get you there, and so we don't want you to live in pain.
Yeah, I love
if you don't have to.
So if you're looking for a PT, comment below, because Melissa and I are hooked into several different networks, and we can help you. I just earlier this week helped someone find someone in Hawaii, in the Big Island. I've never been there before. So comment below. We'll help you, get you hooked up with someone that can really help you get through your journey, as Melissa just put so beautifully. So thank you so much. When we sign off, Melissa, will you leave your contact information below, so those of the people that are in Atlanta, they know how to get a hold of you? Or if you just want to follow her on Instagram or Facebook, then definitely click on her links. I'll also be putting this video in the Ignite Wellness community, so if you want to carry on this discussion with other PTs and like-minded thinkers, just join that group. It's free. So I'd love to have you in there. Thank you so much, Melissa, for all your information, your energy, your passion. I really loved it.
Thanks, Allison. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Bye. Have a great day.
Bye. You too.
Thank you.